Good morning. Welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Don McArthur here with Dylan Kristy, and we got another huge show queued up for you today.
That's right. Ward 10 candidate Santino Peroni will be coming in, as well as Ward 4's Howard Weeks, Amherstburg mayoral candidate Ron Sutherland, and Ward 9's Jeanette Calandra.
Okay, but like scores of people don't care who's coming in because they've already voted.
That's right. About 6,700 people have already cast their vote in the advanced polls in Windsor. That is a drop from about 8,000 people who voted ahead of election night in 2010. But Chuck Scarpelli, the city's manager of records and elections, saying that may not actually be indicative of a low voter turnout this year.
Well, exactly, and he doesn't really have a vested interest, in it, and it could be a good point. That people that are on the fence, they're undecided, they're still watching Trail Talk. They want to see,
Exactly.
Right up until the wire because this thing is too close to call. I mean,
Maybe. Or it could just be a lower voter turnout.
It could be lower voter turnout. I mean, but who knows? And the one thing I was wondering about, because in 2006, it was a lot lower. Sorry, in 2004 or whatever, like the election before, like there was only like 4,833 people that sort of turned out to the event poll. So it really, I guess 2006 it would be. But anyway, but it really shot up in 2010. And maybe that's because of Limoges Francis, right? Like you had this tete-a-tete sort of a thing where this time there's three people involved, and there's not this sort of animosity that had built up on one side. Eddie, he was polarizing with the CUPE strike and all of that. So is there going to be lower voter turnout? I hope not, because that's kind of tragic, not to exercise your democratic franchise.
Yep, but Scarpelli still says that 4.5% people coming out to vote ahead of the polls is still nothing to scoff at. It's still pretty admirable, and that he's forecasting just what he thinks will be comparable to the 2010 election as far as numbers.
Okay, we'll see. Well, anyway, in total voter turnout, that's when all the things are counted after Election Day. It was 46% in 2010, which was about 8 points up on the 38% in 2006.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Dylan's already voted. I have yet to vote. What a day yesterday for Larry Horowitz. It was uncomfortable at times, but it was with Dilkins and Milson too. I'm talking about the editorial board meeting.
Yeah, it's kind of been a new experience for me. I've covered municipal elections before here at the Windsor Star, but I've never got to see behind the curtain and actually enter an editorial board meeting. And it's something to experience. Every candidate that's coming has really been grilled. They'll be asked a question, like most candidates, they'll talk their way around it. But in these board meetings, no, they don't allow that. They stop, they'll repeat the question, really grill them on it. And Horowitz, he really was the victim of these repeated questions there. He kept giving these non-answers, and Doug Schmidt, Chris Vandernoel, and Jarvis Karen Hall, they were all over him.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're gonna duck and bob and dodge, that ain't the place to do it, because you've got these these seasoned veteran journalists around, they got you on the hook. You know what I mean? And they don't really let you wriggle off the hook. Horowitz tried. I mean, a couple of interesting things came out of it. One, he said he's a millionaire. Okay, yep. His net worth is in the millions. That question was from Marty Beneteau, but he got very, very vague. He won't say what his business interests are specifically. He says he's in the business of repurposing historical buildings. This is true, like Holy Rosary Church at Riverside and Drouillard, the YMCA on Palliser Street, other holdings in the downtown core. But he wouldn't get into specifics, but he did say, look, if you elect me mayor, within 60 days, I'll do everything required by law. I'll let you know then, but not beforehand. And Karen Hall was on him and said, well, hey, that's not really transparent.
Well, that's it exactly. 40% of his business, he says, involves downtown holdings. He also owns 8 properties in Windsor. But that's right. She's saying that she wants to know before, because that could definitely affect the way she votes. If she knows that he's involved in something that could come out later, then the voters should know beforehand instead of 60 days after he's elected.
Yeah, and what he did say, and I don't disbelieve him there, he's like, look, I'm not into anything dodgy. It's all on the up and up. I'm a family man, and I have no doubt that that's true, but we shouldn't have to take it at face value, is what Karen's saying. Show us the money.
Yeah, another thing that I think was pretty blunt, Chris Vandernoel came out and asked, after Horowitz had said that he's put $100,000 of his own dollars into the Holy Rosary Church, into the downtown YMCA, as well as into his own campaign. So then naturally Chris Vandernoel asked if this is just another $100,000 investment to help better his own business dealings. And he said it wasn't. He says it's in the interest of all taxpayers, that he would fight for all of them if he was mayor. But I guess we can only wait and see.
Well, exactly. And the other interesting thing that came out is in the debate and stuff, Larry has sort of said, hey, my kids have had to move away, just like, thousands of other kids in Windsor, talking about this youth flight. But as it turns out, they didn't move away to find work. They went away to school, that's not all that uncommon an occurrence, so we weren't too happy about that. but he said, look, even if there's still no jobs, but still the perception out there was sort of that
Well,
his
I
kids went
remember
away
in
for work.
the chamber debate too, he was adamant about it. He said, I want to bring jobs to Windsor so that my kids who are still here don't have to leave like my other two children did.
Yeah, so
When
the implication is they left for work, but
They left
actually
to school.
they're
I
away
left
from school.
Windsor to go to school too, so
Yeah.
everyone does.
Everyone does. A lot of people do. But anyway, yeah. So I don't think they'll be endorsing him. Who knows? An
We'll see. Hey.
endorsement is probably going to come from the Windsor Star's editorial board. They've talked with Dilkins, they've talked with Milson, they've talked with Horwitz. At the end of the day, they could sift through all of this stuff and not endorse anyone. That's possible, but they still haven't. We're waiting with bated breath. It's probably coming. Hopefully, we'll get someone on Trail Talk to talk about that if and when they endorse someone or choose not to.
Absolutely.
Okay, the only other thing later today, there's going to be a mayor's debate in Amherstburg at Anderton Public School. Those kids are in for a treat. Marty Adler, he can work a room. Lots of issues. We had Ron Sutherland on here today. People, they go for the jugular in these debates. I was at the one at the Verity Club, and these kids, they're definitely in for a treat.
Excellent. All right. Well, this has been Trail Talk. Thanks for tuning in.